Milo Yiannopoulos has gone from raging homosexual activist to a conservative Christian opening a therapy center for gay people. What's up, Truth? This is Ben, and I'll talk about a video that Milo just put out on June 18th. It's pretty recent, and I don't know if a lot of people have seen it, but Milo Yiannopoulos is a conservative homosexual, or at least he was. He was a commentator. He was very famous for his extremely over-the-top, hyperbolic, just aggressive behavior. He was very offensive, is what people would claim, and he was just a very intense person. He was interesting to watch. Sometimes he was funny, but he was obviously over the top, and obviously not a Christian in any way, shape, or form. But as of June 18th, apparently this has changed. Now, I had read some articles before this several months ago, where people had interviewed Milo and said that he had left homosexuality, left the hot lifestyle, left his then boyfriend, and apparently Milo has thrown away the ring, the wedding ring that he had with his boyfriend, and now just claims that his boyfriend is his roommate. And apparently Milo has left his boyfriend, left the state he was living in, and has moved to Florida. Now we're going to watch his video in its entirety. It's very fascinating to watch, but first I want to watch a clip of Milo from 2015, and I want to show you the change in behavior. Because what I see a lot of times from people, not just concerning homosexuality or transgenderism or lesbianism, but just behaviors in general. When people have sinful behaviors, carnal, secular behaviors, and they're extremely over the top, and some people would probably say, when they looked at Milo in the past, they would say, oh, there's no way this man can be converted. There's no way that he will change. He is what he is. He has the qualities that he has. And there's just no way he's going to ever be any different. He is who he is. And people, say things like that. But those people are usually not people in the church. And they've never seen transformations like this. Now, if you are in the church, you have seen transformations like this. And I truly, sincerely hope that God has got a hold of Milo's life and that he will be regenerated. I truly hope so. I hope that he holds on to this. And he seems very, very honest and sincere in this video. But let's just look at a clip from before where he's doing an interview with a British reporter, who some of you might recognize her. She was famous for being in some sound bites and some screen clips with Jordan Peterson, where he caught her being extremely contradictory. It's very interesting. But she's the same one. And this is Milo before, obviously 6 years ago now at this time, when he was not converted, not a Christian. And so we're going to watch that, and then we're going to watch his new video, where he talks about opening up a center for men to come to if they want to leave the homosexual lifestyle. All right, let's take a look. Okay, here's a clip from 2016, November 2016. He's interviewing, too far. He's interviewing this lady right here, this white lady, who I believe is the one that was in the thing with Jordan Peterson. Let's just listen to their interaction for a minute.
Or erstwhile boss, Steve Bannon, chairman of Breitbart and Trump's chief strategist, do you think he has horribly regressive attitudes? He's been described by some liberals an anti-Semite, a white nationalist. Have they got that wrong?
Well, Breitbart is a company staffed almost entirely by Jews. I am a gay Jew, and he made me into a star. He, flew over from America to hire Raheem Kassam to run the London office, who is a, brown-skinned Muslim. This stuff is ridiculous. What a lot of Brits don't always understand is how ugly and terrifying American politics can be. The name-calling can be absolutely extraordinary, and lots of Brits...
And name-calling by Breitbart. I mean, that is ugly. Look at these headlines.
Well, no,
would you rather your child had feminism or cancer?
Well, that's not Steve,
There's no hiring bias against women in tech. They just suck at interviews. That's extreme. That's ugly.
No, it's not extreme. They're my headlines. They're not Steve's. And
how are they not extreme?
Would you rather your child had feminism or cancer? Well, women agree with me. I mean, 7% of British women describe themselves as feminists. Just 7. It's only journalists who are still feminists.
Feminism is actually about...
Feminism about equality, of course. They say one thing...
You're redefining it.
Well, no, they say one thing and they behave very differently. Feminists like to say, when they're on the defensive, oh, don't you believe in equal rights? But the way they actually behave is nasty, vindictive,
Do you believe in equality for women? Do you believe in equality for
any normal person does. I want women
so you're actually a feminist then?
Well, I would describe myself as a second-wave feminist, but the modern version of feminism, this ugly, sociopathic, vindictive, mean, spiteful third-wave feminism, which which is defined by misandry. Okay. Women agree with me, not with you.
Donald Trump has talked about governing for all Americans, and yet Breitbart, the chief strategist now, has these extreme, divisive headlines. Do you understand why people are fearful about the divisions that are being caused?
No, I don't agree at all. Actually, what we do is we do something quite rare in journalism these days. We publish satire, we publish provocation, we publish all kinds of journalism that traditionally would have been left-wing. You know, the sorts of dissident, mischievous, you know, thought-provoking kind of stuff where you're like, wow, wait a minute.
Okay.
Then you read it and you think, oh, actually, well, that's changed my mind.
Right.
Isn't it bizarre? Don't you?
No, I want to put some of that satire to you. I want to put some of your own satire to you. Wait a minute. I know you want women to log off the internet, but we are now in the Channel 4 News studio. You have to allow me to speak. You said that women offended online should log off. You said, yes, we'll certainly let women onto the men's internet a few times a year, as long as you follow a few basic rules. You said, wait, let me finish. You said, mass Muslim immigration must stop, or people will know real rape culture. Are we supposed to just soak that up and take it as one big joke?
Am I wrong about that?
Answer me. Are we supposed to just soak it up and take it as one big joke?
You're supposed to treat it as it's intended and not wrench it from context. You know perfectly well that it is a provocation designed to make people think and perhaps to make them laugh.
The guy who's behind all this provocation, the guy who hired you and turned you into a star, as you put it, is now chief strategist in the White House. What does it mean that someone who delighted in offending people, who delighted in having a laugh at Muslims and women, is now at the centre of power?
I delight in offending people. I think the grievance brigade, victimhood, you know, the idea that hurt feelings are some kind of special currency, I think that needs to come to an end, and America agrees.
What does that say about you? What does that say about the guy who's now the chief strategist? Should Steve Bannon care that people are offended?
No, because America has been ruled for 30 years by people who are too worried about what other people feel, not what other people think, and too worried about feelings versus facts. For decades, America has been run by the grievance brigade, by social justice warriors, hand-wringers, feminists, Black Lives Matter, all these groups that are preoccupied with feelings first and facts later.
Okay, so there's just a small, about a 3 to 4 minute clip of Milo and who he was. Despite what he said in there, some of the things I would agree with, obviously, some things I wouldn't. But some of the things he says, some of the headlines he does, some of the ways he interacts with people, and especially his interactions at college universities, he would be carried in on like a throne, and then he would wear these extremely goofy, sometimes revealing, just, you know, he would be provocative and stuff, and there was obviously an intent behind it. But there was also offense behind it. There was also, you know, he was very proud of his homosexuality, and he was very boisterous about it. He obviously didn't have a Christian worldview concerning his homosexuality and the way he spoke, and, you know, he was never concerned about offense and stuff, which obviously in some ways you can't always be worried about offense. There is one thing he said that was interesting, and he talked about the grieving brigade, and people who are always playing victim, and people who are always playing that. There is a lot of truth in there, and obviously this could be broken down in many more ways. But I just wanted you to get a look at the way he spoke, the way he thought, the things he would publish, and I want to contrast to that with who he is today, or at least what he seemed to be presenting himself in this video. Now, this is his newest video, right here. This is from his channel, Milo, June 18th, 2021. It's about a 5-minute clip. We're gonna watch it. I may stop it in a few points and look at things he said, look at things he did. And yeah, let's just contrast who he is in this video and what he wants and what the desires of his heart are and his ambitions versus what they were before.
Today is my 1-year straight anniversary. It's a year from the day I said I was going to put sodomy and lust behind me and live more closely according to God's wishes for me. And
now, isn't that interesting that so many people, and there's been a lot of reaction to this, and there's people that will say things like, well, it's scientific, right? Homosexuality, scientifically proven. You can't leave it behind. There's nothing you can do. You can't change. You are who you are. You just have to learn to live with it. Well, if you knew who Milo was before, and that was just a small clip of who he was before, and the homosexual lifestyle and how he was proud of it and how he had no issues with it and how he promoted it, some of the things he said, and actually the one thing that actually got him in trouble and might have started him on this was that he spoke about how he was molested by a Catholic priest and how he was actually the aggressor. Pretty explicit, raunchy stuff. He never seemed to have a problem with things like that, what he said, what he thought, and that is interesting. But here he is now, speaking like this. Quite the turnaround.
did that, everything in my life has begun to get better. I didn't wake up today especially celebratory, but rather prayerful, because I am aware that I have a responsibility to share this gift with others. I have only managed to get where I am, to do this, well, for two reasons, really. One is prayer, appealing to our Heavenly Father for the strength to resist urges. And the other is thanks to you guys, the viewers, the listeners, both mine and here at the True News family as well. It's also been thanks to the haters, the skeptics, the deniers. It's the scorn and doubt poured upon this, just as much in a sense as the love, that has made it a pleasure to prove people wrong. But it's also those of you who've been keeping me accountable. I've always said on the show, and sometimes in strong language, sometimes in a way that offends people, that tough love is the love that matters. And my readers and listeners have given me just that. They've given me a lot of tough love, and without that, I don't know if I'd be here today.
And now that is so important. He gets so much right that so many people miss. A man who was a homosexual for well over a decade. I don't remember how long it was. He claims probably most of his life, at least since he was a young child. And here he is, having done a 180, left the lifestyle behind, and is claiming that for two reasons. The first being prayer, right? Putting his faith and his desires and his urges into the hands of God, and asking God the Father to give him strength and to help him control those urges. And the second, by being kept accountable by people online, by his fellow Christians, by other people in the community, people who don't let him get away with engaging in sinful, evil behavior. And here he is today. Obviously, it's just weird to see a man who has come out of this, who was so vocal and so flamboyant and over the top, and who was part of the lifestyle and never claimed there was anything wrong with it. And then you have people who are claiming to be Christian organizations, people such as like the Gospel Coalition or other organizations, who are just they tiptoe around it. We don't want to use harsh language. We don't want to make people feel bad. Let's talk about orientation. Is there a difference between gender and sex? No, there isn't. There really isn't. And then this man is proof that if you are convicted by God, and God grants you the ability to resist these urges, and you take hold of that, and you pray to him and ask him for restraint and for love and help, and to help keep you accountable, you end up like this. This is an extremely incredible transformation to see this man go from who he was to who he is now. It's truly a fascinating thing. Let's continue.
Now, as I mentioned, I woke up in more of a prayerful mood than a celebratory one, because I know that I have a responsibility, a spiritual and moral obligation to make good to the people I've hurt, and to reach minds that I haven't touched yet, and offer them help, if I can, to embark on the same journey that I am currently engaged on. And this message today is for you. If you're one of those people that thinks of themselves as gay, but in the back of your mind something's always not quite been right about it, you've sort of known that this is not really what you want. Perhaps you've looked at gay pride as I have, with a mix of consternation and horror. Something twists in the pit of your stomach when you see it. Well, if that does describe you, and even if it doesn't, I have good news for you, which is that Born This Way is a lie. It's propaganda. It's not true.
Isn't it just refreshing to hear somebody who was part of that lifestyle say that, and to claim that he knew? He said even when he talked about, he had that gut-wrenching feeling like I did, that feeling in the pit of your stomach that something was wrong, that you knew something was wrong, but but you just denied it. You fought against it. Well, there is good news for you. Isn't it the good news, the gospel? Isn't that just enlightening and fascinating to see somebody pointed out so clearly who was part of that, just that lifestyle of sin, say, there's good news. And the good news is that you can be freed from this. You're not born this way. All the scientific studies, they're so inadequate, so worthless. So, and there's always, well, we found homosexual behavior in these animals. Well, we view this kind of thing in this person, and we have seen this here, and then we've done brain studies, and homosexual people kind of have a brain weight, right? And there's always just these really weak arguments. And then there's the anecdotal, right? The empirical evidence that is so abundant within Christianity that people just ignore because they have propaganda that they have to get across, right? They have propaganda to push. They have talking points. They have all these agendas they're trying to push through. But anybody that's part of the Christian church will tell you, not just with homosexuality, but with every sin that is out there, it's drunkards and alcoholics and abusers and adulterers and homosexuals and transgender and every sin that's out there that people have been stuck in a vice with, those people are now saved into their church. You can find all these people, millions of them, just stories of conversion where people were living these lifestyles of sin, where they were sinning and they knew it was wrong. God convicted them and they fought it, but they knew deep down that they were sinners in need of the good news of salvation, the good news of regeneration, the good news that you can be set free. Good news.
You can get better. You can change. You can live as you were always supposed to. And when you do that, everything in your life will start to get better. It has for me. I've been very blessed in my life to have enjoyed enormous success in various endeavors, some failures in others. And now I feel a compulsion to share my journey and my message with others. A month or so ago, I tossed my engagement ring into the Pacific Ocean, and I moved to Florida. I'm here partly to share my testimony here on True News, but also to open a center, a clinic for other men who've been suffering from same-sex attractions. Now, we started raising money. Fundraising has begun. We, over summer, will be interviewing therapists and thinking about where in Florida we should call home. So we're not quite open yet. And therefore today, my message to you is, for now, merely one of hope. This does not have to be your life. It can be better than this. Because I've been where you are now, and I know what keeps you up at night. I know what haunts and torments you, and it doesn't have to be the end. It doesn't have to just be this for you. So watch this space. Try in whatever small way you can to make changes in your life. Seek out advice of your priests. Keep watching what we're doing here at True News and follow what I'm up to. And in the meantime, I love you. And I'm going to do everything I can to provide you with the tools you need to get better. Because what you feel at the moment is an inexorable and unavoidable sexuality is just a product of trauma that you might not even realize that you suffered. But you did. I'm going to help you. In the meantime, God bless you. And like I said, watch the space.
There's almost nothing else to be said. Just the example of what this man is becoming. And I truly hope he has experienced salvation. But even if he hasn't, isn't it just fascinating to see a man who has encountered the gospel, Christianity, true Christianity, not just a stoic, bland, generic version of Christianity. Well, we got some values here, and people in the past were pretty smart, and they had some good things to say, or with this just kind of leftist progressive Christianity where, we don't want to hurt people's feelings and just let everybody be themselves and just add Christ into whatever they're doing. It is a breath of fresh air to see a man whose past I am well acquainted with now be this man. Well, I hope this has been enlightening for you. I really have. I hope it was quite the shock to me. I've really enjoyed it. I really hope Milo keeps doing what he's doing. I hope his health, or his conversion center, where he's able to offer therapy and help and guidance to men struggling with this lifestyle and this attraction. I hope that works out well for him. I really do. Well, thanks for stopping by, guys. Let me know what you think about Milo's transformation. Put it down in the comments down below. Go ahead and like this video if you don't like it. Or if you do like it. Like it if you do like it. If you don't like it, go ahead and dislike it, and let me know why you don't like it in the comments down below. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for more stuff like this, in-depth teaching, exegesis, a little bit of Greek, and everything in between. Thanks, guys.